Flow Wisdom presents 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel. Book summary.
0 to 1. Nearly anybody can found their startup nowadays. Numerous business visionaries work from their family room or a close-by bistro, so you don't require an office of your own. This is uplifting news for anybody inspired by imaginative items and administrations. Tragically, however, most new companies don't endure exceptionally long. This rundown will empower you to profit by the encounters, reasoning, and guidance of Peter Thiel, who is one of the world's principal financial speculators. He helped to establish PayPal and was the principal pariah to put resources into Facebook. His one-of-a-kind way to deal with business will tell you the best way to foresee the future and make it a fruitful one for your startup. To envision what advance the future will bring, you should most likely view the present unexpectedly. What do you see when you try to envision the world in the year 2100? For a great many people, what's to come is an enticing theme to consider. Be that as it may, what do we truly mean when we talk about what's to come? Plainly, we don't simply think about the progression of time, however, the advancement set aside a few minutes. This advancement, that is, the distinctions from the present, is the thing that truly characterizes what's to come. All the more explicitly, it tends to be partitioned into horizontal and vertical advancement. Horizontal advancement originates from developing existing thoughts and advancements. Here, globalization is a typical driver since it encourages spread existing plans to more individuals. Be the engineer of your future and attempt to achieve it. So, how might you plan for the different and uncertain conditions that are held in the future? Today, numerous individuals think inconclusively. That is, they attempt to set themselves up for all conceivable future occasions. This methodology is worthless. Be that as it may, because the future holds numerous questions and factors. A progressively powerful methodology is endeavoring to accomplish what's to come that is best for you, along these lines turning into the designer of your future. For instance, numerous students take on horrid extracurricular exercises with expectations of getting into a first-class college. Be that as it may, wouldn't it bode well to concentrate on acing only one subject so they could undisputedly be the best in at any rate in a certain something? It would. In reality, the achievement is the result of center, commitment, and assurance. Destiny and karma have a little part in it. All things considered, if achievement were only a result of karma, we wouldn't see sequential victories like Steve Jobs or the Creator, who established a few prosperous organizations. It's pivotal to remember this when establishing a startup. New companies just have one best future, and achieving it requests a deliberate exertion. Why just one? Since a startup may be effective under unmistakable conditions. There's the solitary one best market for the organization's item, just a single best time to dispatch it, etc. To strike when the conditions are perfect, you should settle on a cognizant decision to seek after the future being referred to. The fundamental trouble lies in making sense of exactly what the perfect conditions for your startup are. At the end of the day, which future would you say you are going for? While picking your future, recall information exchanged in the past flicker. You can just observe the future by looking past setup shows. The tried and true way of thinking holds that challenge is the perfect monetary upgrade, urging organizations to enhance every other's items. Notwithstanding, it's imposing business models that drive advancement. By what method would that be able to be? As a matter of first importance, on the off chance that you have a restraining infrastructure, it doesn't mean the challenge is being dealt with unreasonably. Or maybe you're simply showing improvement over them that they can't endure. So also, if you make something new that no other organization can duplicate, it's not a terrible thing. Google has a restraining infrastructure over the web search tool industry, having confronted no challenge at all in the 21st century. This may appear to be out of line to different organizations who'd like to contend. However, it's unquestionably been useful for everybody who likes utilizing Google's amazing internet searcher. Also, restraining infrastructures are useful for society since they drive advance. They urge different organizations to concoct better arrangements and remove the present prevailing organization. For instance, If an organization needs to contend in the internet search or advertise today, it needs to concoct a superior web search tool than Google. Also, on the off chance that it does, it'll be the customers who advantage. Truth be told, we can even venture to such an extreme as to express that having an imposing business model is a state of maintaining a very gainful business. Why? Since having an imposing business model enables you to set your costs, which thus guarantees high benefits. If your item is no superior to your rivals, you'll need to set your costs low to lure clients from the challenge, which disintegrates net revenues. Take the exceptionally focused aircraft industry where costs are set so low that in 2012, a solitary traveler trip created a measly $0.37 of benefit. Google, then again, keeps over a fourth of its incomes as benefits. Syndications flourish because of innovative points of interest, organized impacts, economies of scale, and incredible marketing. So what precisely makes restraining infrastructures so fruitful? Commonly, imposing business models share a mix of four advantageous qualities. To begin with, they have a mechanical favorable position. Their restrictive innovation works much superior to anything any other individuals. Generally, at any rate, multiple times better. Google's inquiry calculations, for instance, are a lot quicker and have preferable pression control over anybody else's, which makes it hard for a contender to replace them. Second, restraining infrastructures appreciate organizing impacts, which means the more individuals are utilizing their item, the more helpful it is. For instance, consider Facebook. It wouldn't be exceptionally valuable if none of your companions were joined. What makes it profitable to you is the way that a large number of the general population in your system can be found here. This implies newcomers face a difficult task when attempting to bait clients from imposing business models with expansive existing client bases. Third, imposing business models profit by economies of scale. Cost reserve funds picked up by delivering something on an enormous scale rather than a little one. Let's assume you possess a pastry kitchen and have fixed costs like lease, warming, and power, totaling $1,000. In this bread shop, you can create somewhere in the range of 1 and 10,000 buns per month, while the fixed expenses continue as before. The more buns you sell, the more you can spread out those fixed costs, implying that the compelling expense acquired per bun is less. Since imposing business models are the biggest makers in their industry, economies of scale enable them to offer clients more alluring costs than newcomers, further reinforcing their position. At last, restraining infrastructures regularly have solid brands that can't be reproduced. Apple, for instance, is the most grounded tech brand in presence today. While numerous different organizations have endeavored to copy its smoothly structured items and stores, they simply haven't seen a similar dimension of achievement since they come up short on Apple's groundbreaking brand. While investigating a business, take a gander at these four attributes to comprehend on the off chance that they have or are near having an imposing business model. Fruitful organizations need to pursue mysteries others can't duplicate. In the present cutting-edge world, it's enticing to imagine that there's no more space for vertical advancement, or that there aren't any new plans to be had. Be that as it may, this is a peerless, misguided judgment that can shield you from being fruitful. Truth be told, the world still has a lot of insider facts. That is, things that are significant, however, which a great many people don't think about or concur with. This makes them hard, yet not feasible, to find. Frequently, the insider facts are so profoundly installed in the public arena that it may take ages to find them. Simply think about bondage, which a couple of hundreds of years prior was a typical socially adequate wonder. To put it unexpectedly, in those days, the way that bondage isn't right was, overall, a mystery. For tech organizations, the best mystery is to have preferred innovation over their rivals, since it can make their situation as market pioneers unassailable. You have to discover and pursue these sorts of insider facts. Else, you'll simply be another supplier of flat advancement, offering customary items in a focused market. The instance of Hewlett-Packard shows the significance of having better innovation. During the 1990s, The organization had the best innovation and utilized it to bring out one inventive item after the other. For example, a moderate shading printer and an across-the-board printer, copier, and fax machine. A wild thought at the time. Be that as it may, when the organization quit pursuing insider facts and imagining new items during the 2000s, it lost a large portion of its reasonable worth. Building a fruitful, productive organization takes long periods of work. As expressed in the past part, we will, in general, consider restraining infrastructure's behemoths overshadowing their rivals. Be that as it may, they don't begin that way. Assembling a fruitful monopoly requires significant investment. This is particularly evident with regards to benefits. It can take a very long time for a startup to end up productive. Yet, regardless of whether the organization doesn't at first make benefits, it can, in any case, have esteem, because the esteem is controlled by the benefits it will make over its whole life expectancy. PayPal is a valid example. In 2001, it wasn't making any benefits, and when the creator determined the estimation of the organization in those days, he found that the greater part of it originated from benefits that were relied upon to come in over 10 years after the fact. The exercise here is that you can't hope to be the big cheese in your business from the get-go. You should be set up to stick around for the long run. That is the thing that will make you gainful. So, how might you make your startup a beneficial restraining infrastructure? You have to begin little, and after that extend a little bit at a time. To begin with, comprehend that you should be the absolute best in each business, simply your business. So it's critical to characterize your market as barely and explicitly as would be prudent. That will make it simpler for you to turn into its overwhelming player. After you've gotten an imposing business model in this specialty, you can proceed onward to the following, more extensive market. From the earliest starting point, Amazon author Jeff Bezos had a definitive objective of turning into the world's most prominent online retailer. However, he began considerably more barely selling only books. Simply after Amazon vanquished the book advertised, did it extend different classifications like CDs and recordings, and from that point to different items. In this way, as opposed to what many believe, Amazon's prosperity scarcely occurred without any forethought. New businesses need a strong establishment, the perfect individuals and culture, and adjusted proprietor interests. Each organization needs to establish a strong framework to make do over the long haul. So when you begin on the long street of structure up of business, the main days are vital. The main key part of this establishment is finding the ideal individuals. Commonly, new businesses are small to the point that everyone in the group assumes a significant job. That is the reason, before making an interest in an organization, the creator not just makes it a point to break down the abilities and vision of the general population included yet, also their associations. He's seen firsthand what powerless individual binds can do to a group. Before helping to establish PayPal with Luke Nosek, the creator had put resources into an organization that Nosek had begun with somebody he scarcely knew. In the long run, their disparities brought the entire endeavor down, alongside the creator's speculation. Another key factor in a solid establishment is guaranteeing that the various interests of the different organization proprietors are adjusted. All things considered, the organizers and speculators may have altogether different interests. However, the organization shouldn't need to experience the ill effects of such misalignments. For instance, the originators of the organization may wish to build up their items calmly, while the governing body, as a rule, needs to acquire benefits as quickly as time permits. While these interests aren't unrelated, they can in some cases cause strife, so it's pivotal to characterize a method for settling such clashes at an opportune time. At last, new companies ought to likewise attempt to ingrain a solid culture in their groups, since it enables everybody to work viably together. Organization culture doesn't comprise just in the advantages you offer to your representatives, similar to a pool table and a soft drink machine, yet rather the connections that individuals have. A genuine case of a solid organization culture could be seen at PayPal, where the group was close to the point that huge numbers of them proceeded to begin new organizations together later. Your items will never offer themselves. Your group needs to do that. At the point when a great many people hear salesman, they think about a man in a shoddy suit going way to entryway selling vacuum cleaners, not an exceptionally complimenting picture. In any case, in business, deals are a crucial need. Numerous individuals, particularly those eager about innovation, would want to concentrate on item development. Yet inventive items are useless except if they're sold. What's more, there's no item on earth that individuals will purchase without you offering it. To sell your item adequately, you need a decent appropriation. This incorporates your business channels as well as the exertion and association it takes to sell your items. To use your circulation most adequately, you generally need to consider the capability of every customer before choosing how much exertion you're willing to put into making the deal. For instance, the creator helped to establish the information investigation organization Palantir, where a solitary brought a deal to a close, for the most part, acquires a few $1,000,000. Here, the CEO needs to buy and by doing the selling, since customers spending such holes anticipate a specific measure of individual inclusion from the vendor's administrators. In another business, where single deals bargain just acquires a couple of $100,000 each, it wouldn't be an effective utilization of time for the generously compensated CEO. Be that as it may, the CEO would at present need a strong deals group to speak to the organization. Another approach to improve your dispersion is to utilize deals techniques. A considerable lot of us hate salesmen because we partner selling with control, and nobody likes to be controlled. Yet, while certain conspicuous control procedures may not be fruitful in deals, there are sure techniques that will take a shot at anybody, so you should make them work for you. Consider Tom Sawyer from Mark Twain's great books. He was such a decent sales rep that, when advised to paint a fence, he got other kids to pay him for the benefit of doing his work. Wouldn't you say there are more noteworthy, inventive sales reps like Tom Sawyer out there today too? Numerous clean-tech organizations fizzled because they didn't consider the 7 basic inquiries each business must answer. Somewhere in the range of 2005 and 2009, a venture bubble was at its stature in Silicon Valley. The fundamental business was perfect innovation or clean-tech, which includes items and administrations that advance things like the reasonable utilization of common assets and the utilization of sustainable power sources. A large number of organizations had been begun in the business, financed by over $50 billion in ventures. Lamentably, from that point forward, numerous organizations have fizzled, taking the financial specialists' cash with them. So for what reason did they fall flat? Since they just didn't examine and comprehend the market opportunity. To maintain a strategic distance from this, each organization ought to pose 7 essential inquiries about the market and itself. 1. The engineering question. Can you make a genuine innovative leap forward? Clean tech organizations didn't comprehend that to beat built-up vitality organizations, they required innovation multiple times superior to theirs, not simply marginally better. 2. The timing question. Is this the opportune time to begin your business? Some clean tech organizations trusted the business was on the cusp of a time of quick, exponential advances in, for instance, sun-powered board innovation, and this would enable them to thrive. However, truth be told, clean innovation has progressed gradually and straightly. 3. The monopoly question. Will you begin off with an enormous offer of a little market? Clean tech organizations were a piece of the trillion-dollar vitality industry, which implied a no-nonsense challenge for even little offers of the market. A little market where you have a decent shot of structure or restraining infrastructure quick is a vastly improved wagered. 4. The people question. Can your group seek after this chance? Clean tech organizations were regularly kept running by non-specialized officials who had no clue how to fabricate extraordinary items. 5. The distribution question. How will you convey your item to clients? Numerous clean tech organizations, similar to electric vehicle startup Better Place, trusted their innovation was good to the point that they didn't require legitimate dissemination channels. In the wake of burning through $800 million of speculators' cash and selling only 1,000 autos, it wound up seeking financial protection. 6. The durability question. Can despite everything you guard your market position in 10 or 20 years? Numerous sun-powered innovation organizations were shocked when Chinese organizations started producing comparative items at a much lower cost. This ought to have been predictable from the beginning. 7. The secret inquiry. Do you see a one-of-a-kind open door that others have missed? At the time, everybody concurred cleantech would have been enormous. Be that as it may, genuinely effective organizations have privileged insights. They spot openings not every person can see. Inventive organizations like Tesla commonly have answers to practically these key inquiries, while most cleantech organizations had zero. This is the reason they fizzled. Authors will, in general, be weirdos, yet their vision is significant for any organization. What do you think a normal startup author resembles? No matter how you look at it, organizers will, in general, be marginally peculiar, particularly the authors of effective organizations. Regardless of whether they've been somewhat off since birth or have turned into that approach to imitate past extraordinary originators, pretty much every effective organizer is to some degree bizarre. Consider PayPal's establishing group. Pretty much every part was a touch of a crackpot. Actually, as young people, 4 of them even had the unordinary leisure activity of structure bombs. This sort of innovation is significant because authors do unmistakably something other than beginning an organization. They give it a dream. What's more, this commitment is basic. Regardless of how refined an organization's administration systems are, it must have the vision to seek after. Consider Steve Jobs' arrival to Apple in 1997. He'd been kicked out over 10 years sooner, and in 2001, he propelled the iPod, which examiners forgot about as only a cool device for Mac clients. Yet, the genuine virtuoso of Jobs' arrangement was uncovered when Apple propelled the iPhone and iPad, making a group of Apple's post-PC gadgets recognized by their smooth looks and selective highlights. Occupations had adequately made Apple the most important organization on the planet by following a painstakingly considered arrangement dependent on his vision. As this example of overcoming adversity appears, even a solid organization, on the off chance that it needs to perform at the most elevated amount, needs the inventiveness and vision of its originator. 0 to 1. Notes on Startups, or How to Build the Future by Peter Thiel, Blake Masters Book Review. A startup's prosperity doesn't involve karma. You can seek after the future you need insofar as you're ready to challenge built-up shows. At that point, when you acquire syndication by being greater at something than every other person, the achievement will pursue without anyone else. Overwhelm one specialty at any given moment. When you've discovered the unordinary thought to put together your startup to, don't go too expansive too rapidly. Locate a little specialty where you can show improvement over any of your rivals. When you've built up a restraining the infrastructure there, you can grow to different markets later.
This was released from For the Sake of Education by Flow Wisdom. If the content was helpful, make sure to subscribe.